Welcome to my tutorial for Twisted Metal on hard mode for the PlayStation 1. This game ended up giving me a little bit more trouble than the second one. It took me about 4 hours and 28 minutes. I think the second one took me a little bit less time to beat recently. Turns out I did beat this game on hard, but it was probably over 20 years ago when the game was current. So I didn't even remember. I just saw it on my list that I had beaten it on hard. But it was worth playing through it again because I haven't experienced it in a long time, and I love this game. This was one of my favorite games at the time, and still one of my favorite on the system, even though it's not nearly as polished. It doesn't play as tight as the second one. And the second one's a little clunky too. I mean, they all are a little bit. You know, they're not super polished games, but I still love them. And yeah, so I'll try to break some of my strategies down, things like that. I don't remember like what I did back when I beat the game because it was so long ago. I didn't even remember beating it on hard, but I know I played the shit out of it back then. But yeah, sometimes it's worth playing through some of these games again just to experience them again. And now I have capturing capabilities, so now I can actually, make some videos, add some commentary, and do tutorials on them. So I really enjoyed going through the second one recently on hard for the first time on hard. I had beaten it on normal years ago, of course, but it was fun playing this again. So yeah, if you're not familiar with these games, each car has different strengths and weaknesses. So I don't really have one recommended car for the whole campaign if you're looking to just beat the game, because I found that I ended up liking certain cars better to beat certain levels. And that might have just been me, or, in some cases I might have just got kind of lucky when I was switching cars and messing around, and then that's, the car I ended up beating it with. But I ended up liking certain cars better for certain levels. Here I just started out with Thumper, so, I like his flamethrower. It's really good. It does a lot of damage. If you can get up to a guy and leave that flame on the guy, it'll really burn him down. I think it does some burn damage too, so even if they get away, I think they'll still take a little damage and continue to burn. So yeah, in this game, unlike the second one, you have these electrified ramps. And you'll see them on the map as these little white X's on the map that are flashing. That means that they're active. The only time they're not active is after you've used it up. It takes a while to regenerate. Sometimes you'll be waiting a long fucking time. It seems very random when they regenerate. But a big part of this game can be endurance and survival. So if you can survive long enough and kind of hide out and just keep moving and avoid enemies, if your health is low, eventually you'll see those health ramps will become re-electrocuted again. They'll be ready to use again. So you'll see them pop up on the map when they start flashing on the map. You can go and use them. So planning your use of those is a big part of staying alive and lasting long on a single life. You have 3 lives on each level to take out all the enemies. The goal is always to take out all the enemies on each level, and it shows the number of enemies in the top left corner. The part that says, it shows the cars and it shows 5, that's the number of enemies remaining. So now for this level I chose Mr. Grimm. I liked him because, he's the fastest character, except for maybe Crimson Fury. I think they're the two fastest characters. But I don't like Crimson Fury at all. It's a Lamborghini. It has a shitty special weapon, and it dies really fast. Now, this guy, he's really fast, and he has very low armor. He dies very fast, but the positive thing is that he has these special weapons where it says special. And when you select that, by using the left and right bumper buttons, you can select your weapons, either cycling through left or right. And you hit L2 to fire off your special weapon, and R2 to fire off your machine gun, which you have unlimited ammo of your machine gun, but it does overheat. But his special weapon, when you press L2 when you have special selected, shoots out a skull, and that skull will do massive damage to enemies. Now, all the special weapons for all the characters recharge after a certain amount of time. Depending on what character you're using, the special move can take longer or shorter to recharge. But yeah, see that skull that I shot out, that was the special. That does massive damage. So it's worth driving around for a while and recharging those special moves and collecting as many weapons as you can. Because in this game, I found myself doing a lot more hit-and-run tactics just to beat the regular levels than I did on the second one. The second one, I played with Axel and I went super aggressive, as you'll see in my tutorial video, and I just was trying to take out as many enemies as fast as possible because Axel can really ram the shit out of enemies. In this game, the ramming is not nearly as effective as it is in the second one. It's not very refined, and you take a lot of damage when you ram enemies as well, which is weird. Even when you ram into a wall, you take damage, which is strange for these games because it was something that was kind of fixed in later versions of the game. But this was an early installment. You know, in a racing game, it would make more sense to take some damage from hitting into a wall, but this is more like a fighting game in a way, you know. But, yeah, so what I did in this level is I drove around and just tried to chip away at all the enemies and thin them out. By using my regular weapons, by setting out mines, you'll see there's mines, and those, when you use those go behind you, and they're like traps, and enemies will drive into them. I actually used them pretty well on Minion, the final boss. They came in use to kind of finish off his health. But yeah, the traps can be very useful. There's these spring traps as well. They're like these little springs. See, that does massive damage, that special. But there's these springs also, and they'll bust the guy up into the air and do a little bit of damage to his health. But all that shit is useful when guys are trying to chase you. And there's these spikes you can lay down too. You know, similar to the mines, but they do less damage. So that's all useful shit. See, that's the spring. And see, he got hit by all those mines and those springs, and it did a massive amount of damage to him. So they do add up after a while if you use those. They seem kind of useless at first, but they can be very useful because enemies will always be trying to chase you. So it can give you a breather, and it can even finish off weak enemies that are stupid enough to chase you. So what I do here is I pretty much just drive around for, you know, a very long period of time, and what I'm doing is I'm waiting for the health recharge stations to power back up again, which, like I said, it seems random. Sometimes they come back on kind of fast, sometimes they take really long to come back. So it's very weird. But a lot of times I'll drive around and wait for that. And I'm also just driving around picking up all the weapons. And trying to just hit and run. You know, I'll hit guys and then I'll get the fuck out. Because as Mr. Grimm, if I hang around for too long, I'll be dead. Because he has, like, no armor. You know, he can only take a few hits. He doesn't really... that's definitely not his strength. But he's super fast and he has those super powerful special weapons. That's his main thing, you know. Every character has, like, their pros and cons. You know, some have more armor, less armor, better special weapons that recharge quicker. You know, there's a lot of different... There are different speeds. Some characters are slow. Some characters handle really bad, but they have other advantages. Like Sweet Tooth, he handles pretty shitty, the ice cream truck, but he has a very powerful special weapon that's... maybe only second in power to Mr. Grimm's special weapon, the skulls. Mr. Grimm is the guy that I'm using right now, the motorcycle. So Sweet Tooth has very powerful special weapons, and they recharge fairly quickly, but you know, they don't home in on the enemy. Neither does these skulls. They don't have any homing capability. They just shoot straight. But you know, all the weapons are different. Some special weapons are slower, faster. I mean, there's so many different advantages and disadvantages to each character. I find some characters to be more suited to my playstyle for certain levels, so that's why I was using a variety of characters in this playthrough. See, even crashing into a wall, it does enough damage to where it can finish you off, so you got to be careful of that. But I killed most of the guys, or, you know, did a lot of damage on that first life. So now I'll just be cleaning up and finishing off these guys. A huge thing in this game also is driving backwards by pressing back on the control pad. And hold that down and drive backwards while firing. And you'll be shooting the shit out of enemies while they're chasing you. And you know, because in this game you can't shoot behind you. And there's no... You know, Twisted Metal 2, you can shoot behind you if you use your special powers, but there are no other special type of powers or special moves aside from the selectable one, you know, that you get for each character. You get one special move for each character that you can select. And that's the move that recharges that I was talking about. It says special. They also all have different max ammo counts. There's a certain amount that you can store. Like with this character is actually quite good. She can store 5 of her special moves. So once you have 5, she can't charge up anymore and store anymore. So, you know, they do have a max that they can hold depending on the character. So there's a lot of different variables for each character to take into consideration. I use this character for this level because she's fast. She has kind of decent armor. And her special moves regenerate really quick, and she has a lot of them. They're pretty useful to barrage the enemies with. And she can get away very well because, you know, the vehicle is quick. So that's why I ended up going with this character on this level because, you know, there's a lot of, like, roads and stuff to you know, to try to, like, make getaways and do hit-and-run type of tactics. And I pretty much just go around, you know, circling the area, you know, trying to make sure I got my health healing stations ready to go if I need them. You know, using them as I need them. These are rear missiles, so these are the only way you can fire behind you is using the rear missile, it's called, but it's a very rare item. You don't get them very often. And you can also have your rear view mirror equipped as well. See how on the top right I have a rear view mirror showing what's behind me? If you press start and right, you'll make the rear view mirror appear. I don't think the game explains that. Maybe it's in the manual. I don't remember, but because I'm playing on emulation. You know, I owned this game a long ass time ago, but yeah. So the rear view mirror, very useful. I recommend always having the rear view mirror on so you can see what's behind you, see if guys are chasing you. Also, don't forget to use your radar heavily. Your radar will always let you know what direction enemies are coming from, so you can be ready to attack or ready to get the fuck out of there, you know. And you'll also know if enemies are going to surround you and swarm you. In these games, enemies pretty much pretend to fight each other. But you'll notice they do very little damage to each other, almost no damage to each other. It's very rare that an enemy will kill another enemy. Because they pretty much put on a show, but they don't really... Their life doesn't really seem to go down very much at all when they fight. See, it looks like they're beating the shit out of each other, but I don't think much was even happening over there. It's just a show they put on for you when you can see them, but it's pretty much smoke and mirrors. You're pretty much going to have to kill everyone in these games. But yeah, don't forget about how valuable, like I said, driving backwards and firing at enemies is. You'll see me doing it a lot more later. But keep it in mind if enemies are coming at you. Just, you know, start driving backwards and shoot all your weapons at them. And, you know, try not to get greedy, you know. Like, it's easy to get in the mentality that you need to finish an enemy off. But if they're at low health, don't even worry about it. You know, just go back to them later. Because in this game, I don't think the enemies have any way to heal. I don't think they can get health back at all. Because there's no health packs in this game, and I don't think they're allowed to use those little health ramps. You know, these little health ramps right here. I don't think that the enemies can use those. At least on hard, the health ramps don't give you back all your life. I don't know if it's different on normal. I don't think there's that much of a difference between normal and hard, but the last level I think was probably, I'm guessing, was quite a bit harder on hard. I think I would have beat it a lot quicker if I was playing it on normal, but I don't know if there's not, I don't think there's really a massive difference, you know. It's not like an extreme mode or anything like that. But I had forgotten that I beat hard in this game, so I figured I'd do something different with the game so I could, you know, add it to my Twisted Metal entry. I could add hard mode to the mix, but I already had it in there. I just didn't check. But I wanted to make a video of this game for a while anyway, because it's, you know, it's an awesome game. Even though it's not really that polished, you know, especially this first one, but I still think it's awesome. It still holds up to me as a classic game. I spent a shitload of time playing the multiplayer, you know, one-on-one matches, local one-on-one matches, you know, no online back then, but just split-screen one-on-one matches, and I used to play the shit out of that. You know, I had a few friends that I would play the, you know, I'd play the shit out of that one-on-one, you know, for many, many hours straight, pretty much, probably like the whole day at times. But I used to fucking love the versus in this game. And I played the shit out of the single player too, of course. But I spent the most time on the one-on-one matches. This was one of those rare games that gave you the full package back then. You know, it had an awesome single player with a lot of replay and an amazing versus mode, multiplayer. So it was like the full package before online games came out. You know, of course, games like Halo 2 later would present that full package again. But it's kind of rare that a game has the full package of a multiplayer game that's awesome and a single player game that's awesome in the same game. And this was one of those games. And then Twisted Metal 2, of course, blew this game away. I mean, that blew my fucking mind at the time. So, can't say enough good things about that shit. 3 and 4, they were fucking horrible. I mean, they were pretty fucking bad. For Twisted Metal games, they were horrible. I think the 4th one may have been just a mediocre game. It wasn't a horrible game, but it just wasn't good for a Twisted Metal game. It was playable, but one of them, I think it might have been the 3rd one, it's like your car could get flipped over and then you were just pretty much fucked. Really shitty. I think the 4th one may have had that too, but I think they improved it a little bit. But it was a pretty bad game. 3 and 4 were both made by a different company. Twisted Metal Small Brawl is actually a pretty competent Twisted Metal game made by these same developers. It's a lesser-known Twisted Metal game. It was on PlayStation. I guess it's more designed for kids with the huge, playground type of environments and stuff where you're supposed to be these little tiny remote cars or something. But it's actually a pretty good game, pretty solid. Definitely not as good as either Twisted Metal 1 or 2, but still a pretty good game. My favorite, of course, I love Twisted Metal Black on PS2, of course, but my favorite is Twisted Metal on PS3. That was an awesome fucking game. Played the shit out of the online before it got taken down. Or not really taken down, that people didn't go on it anymore because when the game first launched, the online used to drop connections like a motherfucker. I mean, it used to piss me off, and it happened. They didn't fix it for months. And eventually they did fix it, but then nobody was playing it anymore. I think that probably, it was already a niche kind of game. It wasn't a popular style of game, but I think that killed any popularity it might have had. But it's too bad because it was an amazing fucking game. Awesome single player. I beat the hardest mode in that. I loved it. And the online was amazing. I'm sure it had awesome split screen versus too. I just never played it. I never played that in that game. At that time, I wasn't really playing with anyone locally. So, but I played the shit out of the online. There's going to be a lot of room here for me to talk about other shit because, like I said, there's really not much more to explain about the strategy in this level. Hit and run tactics, use the, keep an eye on the health stations. Like I said, if you need to drive around for a long ass time and just try to survive. And if you get lucky, those health stations will replenish. Now this, I believe, this is the hardest stage, aside from the last stage. This one took me a while. Because you got 8 enemies here, but it just gets tough because you get ganged up on a lot. So, I ended up going with Hammerhead, and I thought this was the best character for me for this level because I wasn't doing nearly as well with the other characters. I mean, of course, I could beat it with all the characters, but it's like, I was trying to use whatever character worked best for me when I was doing my playthrough, because I just wanted to beat it on hard. So I wasn't worried about using a consistent character for the whole playthrough. I was just going for the kill. But, see, I already eliminated an enemy, and I've already damaged, I think, another enemy. And Hammerhead is awesome because he has pretty damn good armor. He's got decent speed. Handling is decent. It's not great, but it's decent. But the great thing about Hammerhead is you don't even have to have his special weapon equipped. You can have missiles equipped and other weapons equipped. There's no reason ever to equip his special weapon because you can only use it by running guys over. You can't use it manually by pressing like a fire button. You have to run the guy over for it to get triggered. So it encourages you to ram the shit out of enemies. And he does good ram damage too, even if you don't have the special weapon. He does decent ram damage, but regular rams are not that efficient in this game, I find. Darkseid, the semi-truck, he may have pretty decent rams, but I still find the rams to be kind of shitty in this. But with this guy, if you like ramming enemies, if that's how you like to play, then pick this guy because he'll activate his special move and run over the guy and grind the shit out of the body. He does massive damage when you use the specials. And if you have 2 or 3 specials saved up, you can run over the guy like 2 or 3 times in a row and pretty much kill them. So, and they regenerate pretty quick too. So there's a lot of benefits to this guy, especially on this level. I liked him a lot. Here I'm just trying to survive. Whenever I need to just survive, I go out on this freeway in one of the side routes here, and I just drive around in circles on this freeway. That's why you're going to see me doing this a lot. This level you're going to see takes me I think 17, 18 minutes to beat. So this is going to be the longest section of this video. You're going to see I really drag this shit out. It's like an endurance match, but it's cool. But this is one way to play it. I mean, unless you're really good at taking the guys out fast, of course you can try to go for speed or whatever, but this was an effective method that worked for me after not playing in a while. So I did lose a life there, but I did a pretty decent amount of damage to several enemies. I killed one guy, which wasn't great. I mean, I could have had a better first life, but I didn't survive long enough to get to the health station. But, a good thing is to circle around this neighborhood, just the perimeter of the neighborhood. And that's where a lot of the weapons are. A lot of the weapon pickups are right on the perimeter of this suburb. So if you just keep circling around the edge of the neighborhood in like a circle, you'll get a lot of the weapons. So you'll see me do that a lot. You can also go into the canals area, which you just saw me skip out on. You can go in there, but it gets dense in there, and there's a lot of action going on in there, and you can die really fast. So on hard mode especially, I was playing more carefully. So I was trying to play a slower approach, more endurance. I was just trying to wear the guys out, collect my weapons, and I was trying to lose my health at a very slow rate so that I had enough time to go and recharge it. And trying to conserve my health stations for when I really needed them, maybe at less than half health, shit like that. All that kind of shit. Just budgeting your ammo and your health, your healing things and all that shit. So just try to drag it out and make it a slow match and just wear everybody out. If you do want to go more aggressive, Hammerhead can, but because he has great ramming, like I said, but. Usually when I just go crazy and try to ram everybody, my health goes down fast. So, I try to take out guys when I see a good opportunity, but then I get the fuck out, as you see me doing here. I don't hang around for too long. So you guys are going down now. They got weakened, so now I'm kind of just finishing them off with that special. And I really can't emphasize enough, remember, you do not have to equip your special weapons with Hammerhead. So it's better to have your missiles out or something else, because you can shoot while you're doing your grinding moves and do a shit ton of damage. You can have your machine gun going and your missiles going at the same time while you're doing your special. So, and the special does even more damage, I think, if you ram a guy with turbo. If you hold triangle and do turbo and go into the special, you get ram damage plus you get the special. It's like all that damage stacks up, the missiles, the machine gun, the ram, and the turbo ram, because turbo ram does more damage than a regular ram, and then plus the special activates when you ram guys with Hammerhead. So he's really an awesome vehicle. I think he's one of the best vehicles in the game, to me at least. I mean, when I was playing him recently, I was surprised how good he was, because I don't remember using him a lot in the past, but I may have. I remember my favorite character was Spectre in the past when I beat it on. I might have beat it on hard with Spectre. At least when I beat it on normal, I know Spectre was one of the characters I really liked. I actually used Spectre mostly on the Versus mode because he was awesome, because he has ghost missiles that go through walls. Spectre is the only guy who has ghost missiles that can go through walls and ceilings and all that shit. It goes through the floor. It's awesome, but they're very weak, but they go through walls and they home in on targets. So Spectre is another guy that you can use for endurance playing. Just driving around and doing hit-and-run tactics and shooting through walls and shit. He's very good for that. And he's fast, too. The only downside is he has great handling and speed, but he has very low armor, so it's one of the downsides. And he does low damage with his missiles, with his homing missiles, so you're going to be, fighting guys for a while. You're not going to be doing hit-and-run for a while, but it does work. Eventually you'll wear everybody out and eventually win, if you're patient enough. But yeah, this turned out to be more. Some of these levels turned out to be more of endurance levels than when I did my Twisted Metal 2 run, which I was beating levels in 3 minutes a lot of times, which was crazy. But Axel can really destroy with that ram once you get used to controlling him. So check out that tutorial video too if you're interested in seeing more of this type of tutorial and commentary type of video. Because Twisted Metal 2 is an awesome game. It's even better than this, I think. But this was an awesome first game for the series. In this one, I think this is one of the only Twisted Metal games where the pedestrians actually shoot missiles and guns at you and actually hurt you. There may have been in later ones, like maybe the PS3 one, I don't remember, but in Twisted Metal 2, you pretty much just run people down, and you may get a little bit of a bonus to your health, but in this, they're pretty much just there. A lot of times, they'll just be shooting at you and shit, so sometimes it's good to run them over, because they can do a little damage to you if you're sitting in one place for too long. They'll shoot at you. Doesn't really make any fucking sense, guys in orange hazmat suits with jetpacks firing missiles at you in a suburban neighborhood, but, you know, sometimes shit goes down. Maybe these people here were doing a little bit too much meth, you know, they were getting on that PCP. Yeah, so only 4 enemies left, so I'm just kind of taking my time at this point. You know, like I said, wearing everybody down. Driving around that perimeter and just collecting up all the weapons. You know, that way you have a lot of weapons to unload on these guys. Plus those specials that build up. You can just really just run over the guy with the special and do massive damage. I kind of pick and choose when I'm gonna engage the guys and when I'm not gonna do it. You know, if I don't have a lot of weapons, I may wait. Strangely, in this game, I don't know if the other Twisted Metal games do this. I only remembered in this one, the dead bodies stay on the road. So sometimes they can distract you. You'll think it's a... if you don't remember killing somebody, you'll think it's a living guy and waste your weapons on it. And Hammerhead will actually waste his special weapon on stupid shit. Like, I think if you run over a wooden crate, he may waste it on that. And he'll also expand his special weapon on dead bodies, which is... very wasteful if you accidentally hit into it, you know. Luckily, they do recharge quickly, so if you waste one, it's not like a huge deal usually, but it's just kind of weird. But yeah, you see how much damage that does to that one little ram, and I just got the fuck out of there because I have like no health now, so I'm probably trying to get to a health station at this point. And you see there's none of them on the map, so I'm kind of desperate now for one of them to come back to life. Because I'm on my final life now, and there's no health stations available. So this is where I end up surviving for a very long time on like no health, if I remember right. And I'm basically going to just be trying to wait around, and you know. Luckily, Mr. Grimm left because he could have totally destroyed my fucking ass. So I got lucky with that. That would have been the end of this this attempt. But yeah, I'm just driving around now for a long-ass time. I mean, this is the best place to try to survive, I think. You know, the least amount of enemies usually come onto these freeways, and it's a long stretch of road that you can go in circles on. So, you know, if you need to survive, just take this side road and just start driving around in circles. Collect some power missiles and shit like that, homing missiles, whatever it is. And when you know, if you see those charge stations pop back up on the radar map, that's when it's time to come back onto the main road. I don't know if it shows them until you get within range, so that's why I come in here to check up on it. Because I wasn't seeing them when I was driving on the freeway, so you may have to come into this area to see them. But I should have waited longer. I mean, this was very reckless for me to come back in this area where there's enemies moving around. There's still 4 enemies moving around that could easily kill me. But I'm trying to check the radar and trying to stay out of zones where they are, you know, and use turbo when I need to. But I mean, if I bump a wall the wrong way, you know, I'm going to be fucking dead at this point. It's very dangerous. I'm really just hoping now to get a charge station. I think eventually I do get lucky and a charge station comes back up. Oh yeah, here's the charge stations. They finally came back to life. I think 2 or 3 of them came back. So now this gave me my, you know, what I needed to beat the rest of the 4 remaining enemies. I may have had a, you know, charge up health several times, but I guess it was good enough. I don't even start fighting guys with this amount of health, I don't think. I think I just, you know, go from station to station to get all my health back. Or as much of it as I can get back before I start trying to fight anybody. Because, I mean, this is still very low health. I mean, I'm not going to die in one hit, but, you know, it's not good. So, yeah, now I may start fighting guys. I may still have one charge station left to use, but I don't even know if I do. But I guess I start fighting the guys now. Pit Viper still has a lot of life, but now he's almost dead. See, that you can really wreck these fucking guys with those specials. But see, look at my health now. Pit Viper really fucked me up, because now I have very little health. And there's still 3 enemies left, so I guess we'll see how I get my ass out of this one. I may go back to the freeway and drive around and try to survive again. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to end up doing. I probably survive for a long-ass time and then come back and heal up again. This was the kind of shit I was doing to beat this level. You know, it's like an endurance kind of play style, but you'll see it does work. If you're having trouble with this and you're getting your health taken down quickly, then, you know, you can either set the game to fucking normal mode and not play on hard, or you can do this, you know. But anyway, I mean, this advice would work for any difficulty mode anyway. It's not like it's only applicable to hard mode. Hard mode is just harder, but it's the same shit, really. It's not that much harder. Be aware that if you do play on easy mode, I think the game ends after a few levels. And the game makes some kind of insult or something for playing on easy mode, and it ends like halfway through. At least the second one did. I think this one probably does too. I'm guessing it does the same shit. But I didn't. I haven't tested that in a while. But yeah, so I drove around on the freeway for a little while, and then I saw these stations charged back up. So that's why I came back out in the suburb area to get my health back again. So I'm doing a little health run now. You know, get my health back, and then I'll probably finish off the remaining enemies. I don't think I do another health run. Now, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if I did, because this is dragging out for a long time. Mr. Grimm is on his way out. He's about to check out. We're sending him home into several boxes to his family, because he's going to be in more than one piece after this shit. So yeah, I'm just taking a little drive, taking a little stroll, you know. I guess maybe I did do another little health run here. I think what I was doing, even though I had full health, I was getting kind of pissed off because I was playing for so long. I was kind of agitated, so I was like, fuck it at this point. Let me just drive around anyway so that I have the health stations ready to go in case I need them again. You know, I can get them and just finish off the rest of the guys. So I think I was making one final, you know, little drive. And I don't remember exactly how I ended this stage, but yeah, I'm guessing I probably drove around for a while. I don't know if I drive around until they recharge fully again, the charge stations. I don't know if I even waited. I might have got impatient and just went back out and tried to kill everybody. But I was trying to waste some time here. I was trying to kill some time here and just, you know, get those stations coming back. But yeah, see, now he's causing a problem for me. You see how fast the health can go down on this mode, so now I put down some of those traps, see? Those traps are very good. Because Crimson Fury's going to try to follow me, and he's going to run into all that shit. And, you know, that's pretty much... Let's see, that shit killed him. He died just from the traps. So don't underestimate those mines and those spikes and all that shit. They actually do pretty decent damage. Just remember, you can run over them, too, and hurt yourself. So, you know, always be aware of that. You know, don't forget that you put them down. Because sometimes you won't see them. They're kind of hard to see. It's not like it's HD or anything. You know? But yeah, Mr. Grimm made a wrong turn and he dies as well. I'm not in great shape, but there's one guy left, so I can kind of just chill out now, take my time, relax, stroll around, just cruising the highway, motherfuckers. So yeah, I'm just driving, just doing my thing out here, motherfucker. Take your things off, I'll be with you in a moment. So, you know what I mean? I'm a doctor, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fucking doctor. Take your things off. I'll be with you in a moment. Nothing I haven't seen before. Yeah, so I'm still stalling out here. I think I'm still killing time because I want those little health things to replenish just in case I need them. Because, you know, I don't want to do all this and then I die on the last guy because I was, you know, getting sloppy and not being patient. Because then I got to do that whole 17 minutes over again, this whole endurance shit again. It could even take longer. So, I'd rather just not fuck it up. So I think I was trying to avoid the enemy. I may have gotten aggressive here. Oh, it's Spectre. Yeah, I did get aggressive because he had like no health left, so I was confident I could snipe his ass. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just look for those opportunities, and strike when you have the chance. But just, it's good to have that endurance and just take it slow. Be patient. It works very well in this game. And talk about being patient, this level doesn't take as long, but this is the hardest level for me because the first 3 enemies are easy, because you only have to kill 3 guys, so that's not a problem. But, the problem is going to be fighting Minion on hard. Minion was never an easy boss, but on hard I think he's probably harder. But the thing with Minion is that he'll pretty much destroy almost all your health within like a second or two. He can kill you very, very fast. I'm not sure exactly how long it takes, but I know that if I try to fight Minion head on, I usually get destroyed when he's facing me. He'll just drain all my health. So, Minion is an endurance battle, and for Minion, what I ended up doing in this playthrough was setting traps in the hallway. And also using the hallway to kind of keep him in one area that I could shoot the shit out of him without worrying about aiming too much. And I'm going to show you that strategy. Make sure you shoot this crate down to get these weapons. If you rewind the video, you'll see me, I just shot it down if you don't know where it is. And watch where I'm going. See, all these things I'm shooting, these are all different weapons, like homing weapons, homing missiles are right here. Now, you can also back up on guys with your special weapon. You see I ran over Spectre by going in reverse? Keep all that shit in mind if you need to do that. I also didn't mention that you can do a very fast 180-degree turn and very fast sharp turn by holding down X while you turn. Square is your accelerate, but if you hold down X while you're turning, you'll do a very sharp turn. And if you get good at it, you can do a very fast 180 turn and shoot guys that are directly behind you, then snap back the direction you were going and get the fuck out. It takes some practice, but that's a very good maneuver as well as, that's more advanced maneuver. But you can do that as well as driving backwards and shooting. Those are a little bit more advanced, but they're not that hard to pull off. So yeah, I did lose a life there, but the other guys are almost dead at least. But yeah, remember, watch where I'm going to get all the weapons, and it's a very small level, so just watch where I'm going. Break open the crates, get all the weapons, because you're going to need them for Minion especially. You're really going to want those fucking weapons for Minion. The AI is pretty decent in this game when it comes to the rooftops. I don't know if these guys ever fall off the roof. It's kind of insane. Because in Twisted Metal 2, they're constantly driving themselves off the roof and committing suicide. But in this game, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to really happen. But Minion is very cheap. I've knocked Minion off the building before, and he pretty much just respawns in another area and takes no damage. So Minion will also glitch through the hallway. I think I show it in this run because I think he does it. And he'll glitch through the hallway, and then he'll just appear somewhere else. It's pretty ridiculous. But it is what it is. So yeah, soon I'm going to be finishing off the final regular enemy. And then I have 2 lives to try to take Minion down. And what I'm doing is I'm watching the radar, and I'm just kind of waiting for him to come up that slope. Because I can see Pit Viper's about to come up the slope. I'm waiting for him to come up, and then I'm going to finish him off. It's good to ambush guys when you watch the radar and you know where they're going to come up at. You get an idea where guys are going to come up, because there's only so many entry points where the guys can come out of. So once you know the level, you know all the entry points. They're not going to be able to come around the other way or anything. So it's just a matter of knowing the level a little bit, using a radar. So yeah, now that all the enemies are dead, shoot this. Now the final boss comes out, Minion. But now shoot this little pyramid right here. You can grind into it, but when you grind into it, it can hurt your health bar a lot, especially with certain vehicles. Shoot it, do whatever you want. Use the machine gun, ram it. Eventually, it'll break. Then get all the weapons in here. There's really good weapons in those plants. And there's also a healing station in there, if you noticed. So, use that when you need it. But see, now this is the hallway that I go into. Now, I'm going to wait for Minion. Eventually, Minion will always come into this hallway. It happens every time. Sometimes it takes him a while, but see, now you can shoot all your weapons at him. And just try to do as much damage as possible. And see, now I get this little healing, which was great. I was able to actually get past him somehow, which ended up helping me out a lot, because he usually would annihilate me in that hallway and destroy me. But That gave me a very good chance at beating him. Now he's leaving. I'm going to let him leave. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let him come back into the hallway again. You know what I mean? Occasionally I do leave the hallway, I think, but to get more weapons and stuff, but a lot of times what I do, I have some decent weapons, some power missiles and shit, so I'm waiting for him to come back in the hallway again. And you'll see eventually he will come in the hallway again. And now the good thing about this hallway is two things. You can set traps in the hallway that he has to run over because he can't avoid them when he's trying to get to you. So you can set a bunch of mines, all that type of shit. Springs, spike strips, oil, whatever. You can set all that shit in there and he'll run into it. Secondly, he cannot come up behind you because there is no entry point behind you, so he can't get in from the back. So he has to come in through that one entrance. And when he's in the hallway, he cannot move left to right very much, so all your shots will pretty much hit. You don't have to really worry about aiming. Just make sure you're facing him in your general direction. And most of your shots should get through. So those are the great things about that. And you can spin a 180 turn and get the fuck out of the hallway if you get good at spinning the 180 turn and speeding out. And I think I end up doing that to get more weapons. I get my shots in and then I get the fuck out. So these tactics should really be helpful if you're having trouble on this guy. I don't remember if this is what I did years ago because it's been so long, but it's a great tactic. So yeah, I think he annihilates me here though. I did all that waiting for nothing because I didn't even hurt him pretty much on that try. But he is half dead now, so I have one life now to get the other half of his health. And actually, it was a very close fight at the end. It gets intense at the end. I had to rely on setting mines and traps to get that extra damage, because otherwise he might have finished me off. You see how fast he can kill you. And Hammerhead has pretty good armor, too, and he dies like really fast, even with all that armor. So, you know, you don't really want to fuck around with Minion for too long. There are other tricks, too, like if you're using Spectre with his ghost missiles, you can go up above Minion in certain areas and shoot the missiles down. You know, there's a lot of stuff you can do with certain characters, but I recommend using this character because you can get nice ram damage if you run Minion over a few times with the special. He has good armor and he's pretty decent speed too, so I mean I like this character a lot. Warthog, I was also doing very good with Warthog. Warthog is a good character to use too. He has good armor, but he's a little slower, I think, and you know, his special weapon is not that powerful, but it regenerates at a decent rate, and it homes in a little bit. It's like a homing missile, pretty much. But I like the extra damage of Hammerhead's special for running over the... Mr. Grimm is also very powerful, and he can do a lot of damage to Minion with his skulls, but the problem is, try shooting Minion with those skulls when Mr. Grimm pretty much will die in like one hit or something, you know what I mean? He dies super fast. So here I set some traps. And now I just turn around and I'm just waiting for Minion now. So here he is. I don't think this is where I got a lot of traps in on him, but I think he hit some of my traps. And now I think I end up getting out of here because shit just gets wild in here. I somehow, was able to pass over Minion, so that was good. But I think I'm getting ready to evacuate this area. Minion usually leaves. Like when Minion goes through this hallway, he usually doesn't turn back and come back into that main area. It's weird. He usually just likes to leave. I don't know if you're going to see the hallway glitch where he goes through the hallway and does other weird shit and respawns, but I don't know if that happened on this attempt. But now, see, look, here's what I'm going to do now is I set my mines out, and now I'm just waiting for him. And I had some of those springs, too, so I think I may end up setting the springs up, too. Well, actually, no, maybe not. Let's see. I don't think I finished him off at this moment. I think I wait for him to come back again. Let me see. Yeah, see, I almost had him dead, and now I have, like, no health left. So I'm in a bad situation. So here's what I do. I instead of going out to get more weapons and risking, dying, I set up 2 spring traps. And I get back in this hallway, and I pretty much just hope that I can rely on my machine gun and those 2 traps. That's all I really have left to rely on at this point. So pretty much like a survival. It's down to the last, And I was working on this level for a while, so I really didn't want to fuck up. It was getting intense. So yeah, a little machine gun, and he hits into those traps, and now he's dead. So yeah, hopefully those tactics will be able to help you out in this game. There are definitely some different strategies in this game as opposed to the second one. And of course, the strategies do vary to a degree depending what vehicles you're using for each level. So take it for what it is, and if you want to follow the tutorial, maybe use the vehicles that I used on those levels, as I found those to be pretty good. Those are the ones that finally allowed me to be successful on those levels in my recent recent run. So yeah, let me know if you have any other questions or requests, and thanks for watching.